Okay, so I'm going to start on the blue paper. I know you have a bunch of papers, but I'm going to start on the blue paper. I know. So the first thing I want to talk about vertex form. I do. So tell me, yesterday we did something that put it in vertex form. Does anybody remember what we did, how we factored to put it in vertex form? Isaac, what was... what is it?
Oh, it's the formula?
We completed the square to put it in vertex form. Did you know that or you didn't know that? Yeah, that was kind of you. Yeah. Okay, so sometimes when we start in standard form, we're going to have to complete the square to put it in vertex form. Sometimes we're going to be given some information. So if I'm given this, so if I'm given this, so the vertex is H and K. And when this is written this way, this is a point on the quadratic, it's a point on the parabola. So is the 0 my x or my y? So this is my x and this is my y. So if I look at the information I've been given, do I have a y? Do I have an a? Do I have an x? Do I have an h? Do I have a k? So I have everything except what? So could I find the a? So if I plug all that in, I can find the a, right? So I'm going to fill it in. 14 equals a times 0 minus 3 squared. And then it says plus k, but I have a negative k. So can I just write minus 4 in the top drawer? It's a minus here. So we can go ahead and write the minus. So the first thing I'm going to do is add the 4. And here I have negative 3 squared. So negative 3 squared is 9. So then I'm going to divide by 9. And my a is 2. So to put it in vertex form, I want the a, the h, and the k. So do I have all of those now? So can I fill this in? Y equals 2 times and so what does the 2 mean? It's the stretch. So this parabola gets stretched by 2, and it has a vertex of 3 and negative 4. Okay? So the next thing I want to look at is the root. So this time I'm given this information. So by looking at the points, what is that? These are my x-intercepts, and what's this? My y-intercept, right? So this is my R2. And you're right, this is my y-intercept, but can I use that as a point on the parabola? Because it is a point on the parabola, right? So this is my x, and this is my y. So now, do I have everything except a? So I can solve for the a one more time, right? So I'm going to have 12 equals a times 0 minus 3 and 0 plus 2. So I have 12 equals a. 0 minus 3 is negative 3 times 2 is a negative 6. So then I divide by negative 6, and I get a is negative 2. So if a is negative 2, now do I have my r's and my a? So now I can write the root form. And what does the negative 2 do to my parabola? What does the negative do? So reflects, so it turns it upside down. And what does the 2 do? It's a stretch, right? So what if I wanted to put this now in standard form? What would I have to do? Nobody? Crickets? Let's leave the negative 2 for last. Can we multiply these out? Can I do that? Do you all remember how to do that? So we take x times x, and I get x squared. And then we get plus 2x minus 3x minus 6. And now I want to go ahead and distribute the negative 2. So now this is in standard form, right? And we can get two things right off the bat in standard form. We get two things. The first one we get is the y-intercept. The y-intercept is always c. Even though they gave it to us in the problem, your c equals the y-intercept. And your a always tells you stretch or compression or which way the parabola is oriented, right? So this negative 2 is always your a value, and that doesn't change. Okay? So I want to start on the yellow paper. I want to do on the back. The a is your y. The a always tells you whether it's a stretch, compression, or a reflection. Okay. So I'm on the back. I'm starting with number 16, the graph one. So first of all, what form am I given here? Standard. So right off the bat on standard form, what can I get? The y-intercept. What's the y-intercept? So that's this question right here, 0, negative 1. So the next thing it's asking is the vertex. And to get to the vertex So if this is how I start, and I'm going to write under the graph because so my first step to complete the square, does anybody remember? Move the 1. So let's get rid of the 1. And then I'm going to have my b over 2, and my b over 2 squared. So my b this time is negative 4. My b over 2 is negative 2. And my b over 2 squared is positive 4. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. And the next step is I want to write this as a perfect square, which means I use the middle one. So that's going to be x minus 2 squared, and that equals 5. And the last step is move the 5 to the other side. So from there, what is my vertex? 2, negative 5? Negative. Because when you move the 5 to the other side, it's negative. So our axis of symmetry is what? It's always x equals, and it's whatever your x equals value is.
So the axis of symmetry is always going to be the first point of the vertex?
Yes. And the vertex form of the equation, we already did this. This is y equals x minus 2 squared minus 5. So how do I know to find the x-intercepts? It says use the quadratic formula. How do I know that from looking at this? Can I factor this in my mind? Really? Do it. You can't. There's no a times c is negative 1 and b is negative 4. There's no factors to factor this. So you have to use the quadratic formula. So I'm going to write that down here so I have more room again. So a, b, and c. My a is 1, my b is negative 4, and my c is negative 1. Four times a times c gives me negative 4. And your 2a is 2. So when I fill this in, x equals negative b. Well, my b is already negative, so minus the minus is a positive. So I get 4 plus or minus the square root of b squared is 16 minus 4ac. Well, the 4ac is already negative, so I'm going to put plus 4 all over 2. So this is what I get. 4 plus or minus the square root of 20. There is more. What is it, Cardarius? Simplify the 20 first. Twos. And so when I reduce it, I get 2 plus or minus the square root of 5. Okay, so what I want you to do, I want you to do this one right here, the next one. And I'll tell you right now, you have to put it in vertex form, right? So the first thing you have to do is factor out the 2. So your b So your b is 4. Yeah.
They want to know what 19 is.
What?
They want to know what 19 is.
We just found the answer. 2 plus or minus the square root of 5. Write it on the line. Was that your question? Now you're going to have to take off your sweatpants. I'm going to make you change. Are you kidding? All right. So what do I put for a, what to add? 4, but what do I have to add to the other side? It's not 4. Because we have factored out the 2. So 8. It'll depend on, I don't know. I was planning on it, yes. I am planning on going. So you have to add the 8. And then I'll let you finish it from there. Mm-hmm. So you're going to finish number 5, and then on this one, you're going to do 4, 5, 6, and 7. And that's all you have to do. I mean, I think you should be able to finish, right? I think so. Yes.